Hallelujah. Give him, hallelujah. Give him the highest praise. Hallelujah. Give him the highest praise. Hallelujah. Give me the highest praise. In the morning when I wake up, in the night when I wake up, I will lift up my voice to heaven and give you the highest praise. Hallelujah to my King. Hallelujah to my Father. Hallelujah to my Jesus. I bow before the throne. When I look at all the wonder and I see all the creation, the beauty of the universe, you never, never change. You never, never lie. You never, never change. You never, never change. Hallelujah to my Jesus. Hallelujah. 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 Hey, hey. Hallelujah. Hey. Give him, hallelujah. Hey. Give him the highest praise. Hallelujah. Hey. Give him the highest praise. Hallelujah. Hey. Give him the highest praise.
Come let's pray, Jehovah. Come let's worship Jehovah. He deserves the praise. Come let's praise Him. He deserves everything. Oh, the worshiping. Oh, He gave me life. I will praise His name. I'm here to praise my God, oh, because He gave me life. Come celebrate, come jubilate, come and worship Him. He deserves the praise. Hallelujah, give Him the higher praise. Hallelujah, give Him the higher praise.
Hallelujah, give him, hallelujah, give him the highest praise. Hallelujah, give him the highest praise. Hallelujah, give him the highest praise. Ooh, hallelujah, oh yeah, yeah, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
All right, hallelujah, giving the higher praise. As usual, it's our theme song by Minister Joseph Bass and K Praise. They are based in the West African state of the Republic of Liberia, and that's part of our tradition to always showcase some of the goodness of Liberia. To want to welcome you this beautiful Saturday evening from the East Coast. Is 7:53 Eastern Standard Time. To all our viewers and followers, we say happy Saturday. No matter how you went out there, hopefully you are doing fine. And good to have you here. If that's your first time joining us here, Tom Afonso and Sort of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV. On behalf of the management staff, the board of directors, and the folks in Liberia, analysts, contributors, we want to welcome you to on the official news platforms of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV, LIB Messenger, if you will. We are also live podcast. You can also view that on our official website. That is www.liberiapublicradio.com. Right after the obituary announcement, you're going to see it live TV. If you click on that option, there are two options. You can watch it right on screen on our official website. It takes you to the YouTube. It takes you to our Facebook. Just in case you try to figure a way out how to get it going. And new features will be added as in a very short period of time coming. We'll try to reactivate to make it much easier to save data. It is quite amazing that most of our followers, they are based in Liberia. So it is quite interesting. Like other people say, people don't follow us, or people in Liberia do not listen to people in the diaspora. That's not true. Liberians are very, very much glued to news now, and not just any kind of news, but news of substance, and that's what is important. We want to welcome you this beautiful Saturday evening. Usually I'm not here, but it's for your sake. We always there are a lot unfolding out there, so we have to keep the conversation going. We want to welcome you. Thank you for joining us here this beautiful Saturday evening. We're going to be having some critical discussion here as well, but for the good of our country. There will be a lot of dissenting views where we agreed and disagreed, but we always conduct ourselves with civility in the context that one would be persuasive in his or her argument. And that's what we ask and require of our viewers, our listeners, or to also do, because that's the only way we can find common grounds to the many problems in Liberia. I'm not saying anywhere in the world where there is that one has dominion over violence. We tried that before, and we know where we are. We know where it gets us. So violence doesn't win anything. It destroys. It's just a setback. It just breaks down everything that you think about. This is why this country, they always put negotiation first. It would be bitter. It would be, there would be resentment. It would be ugly. Names calling would be there, but that's okay. They always try to put away violence because they know what violence is. We applied that in the 90s. And to destroy, you can demolish a house in less than 10 minutes, but it's just not possible to rebuild. I don't care, you bring engineers from Russia, China, and USA, Germany. You can't just put a structure because it's a gradual process. You have to make sure that the foundations are solid, and you start doing it gradually. So the way you destroy, you don't just build like that. We destroy, whether it was out of ignorance or stupidity or whatever it was, why people needed change. People didn't know the type of change that they were arguing, they were fighting towards. We all, directly, indirectly, we got involved. And we make poor, not rational judgment and get us to be where we are. And it appears to me, if I listen to some of my brothers and sisters, Liberian, both at home and in the diaspora, the group in the diaspora are the most ridiculous group that we expect or anticipate to know better, but sometimes they do it the way other. So what is going on? There are a lot of things happening within the human mind. I don't tend to be a psychiatric guy here to do a diagnosis here, but we'll try to figure out some of these things here. And the best way we want to do it is to have an authentic and genuine conversation, even at the peak, at the zenith of our disagreement, whether it be with the national government, with our own organizations, our own community, even with the political institutions as well. Tolerance is what is required in order for us to attain all of this. But how many of us have this political tolerance? Even the politicians themselves, they act before they think. And you must have a second thought. But don't get me wrong, we all make some stupid and crazy to act crazy and think that we are doing the right thing because we have our own self-made laws that we think that justifies our actions. It is ridiculous, and that's what we need to stop. We got to be ringing this bell. There are some ears. We'll take them to doctors and to see whether they can do some real surgical cleaning so that they will hear well. Because sometimes if I think we Liberians, our behavior is abnormal, and I wonder to what is responsible for that. Are we the ones or who? So there was a critical question asked by one of my colleagues, and I kind of found that some reasoning in it. Is our leaders responsible, or are we responsible to what is going on? It's a combination of both. Yes, we blame our leaders of not acting, but we ourselves are very dishonest. Two persons put together here to get something going. One will start going to bed to dream how to crook his or her friend because you think you're smart. And that's why that's how the society is going. Is that good? No. And so we are not used to forming this sort of alliance, that sort of collaboration. You see the Hispanic and people here to put together, even when they stay one place in under the same roof, whether it's an apartment complex or whatever it is, or one buying toothpaste, the other one going to be buying like a bath soap or gel or whatever. But you try to do that with most of our brothers, it doesn't work. The ugly, they don't know what's going on. They don't have common sense. They don't have conscience, good judgment. They don't. And when you're talking, they're talking different thing, as if it is not even existent on planet Earth. Just how you give them right when you reach the toll booth, you're passed by the first booth to use their judgment. Okay, at least this guy is giving me right. Let me pay for the next booth. They won't do it. Then that's the time they pretend to profess to be on an emergency phone call because they try to play smart. And that's how the society is being run today. Very shortly, my team of analysts are going to be joining me here. We're going to be having a critical discussion here. Hopefully, if all goes well, on Tuesday, I will be hosting the Deputy Minister of General Affairs and Social Protection. Minister Carr will be joining me as well. I want to be having a discussion here. There is a video out there. I had a chat with Minister Piso City Tar this morning, and let me give kudos to the public affairs directors at the Ministry of Gender and Social Protection. And that's what we have been saying. There are some good folks within the government. And only if the leaders of these people can listen, they will be very good. Because why? I like people who are spontaneous. It was just an instant text message that I sent, and he was spontaneous. Did that to Piso City Minister Tar, and that happened as well. See who is here this evening. The liberal progressive, Samson Bloko Branto, the USA-based Liberty partisan. They're changing chairman from one chairman to another chairman. I'm not sure when he will be chairman of the collaborative party, what have you. Well, my team are here. We're going to get this going here very shortly. This is how we do it. We poke in the eyes of one another, but believe me, we don't take anything personal. I am Afonso Zienso of the Liberia Popular Radio 10 LPR TV. What was the big news in Liberia during the week, and what was the most ridiculous one? There's a tradition that says now people, every other day, people are going on the car, they lay down. What the heck is going on? By the same time, the city lights up. So let's see how it looks like, courtesy of our sister network televisions in Liberia. ITV captures some beautiful images when the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Dr. George Weah, lights out the city. The longevity of that is nesting. But this is Minister Eugene Lamine-Fagon, who was the Deputy Minister for Public Affairs at the Ministry of Information, Deputy Spokesperson of the Government of the Republic of Liberia. This is how he puts it.
Country that was destroyed. He's made no complaints. He's not left any blame for anyone. But the truth of the matter is that we're here in continuation of President Weah's Popo Agenda for Prosperity and Development, where clearly you can see it looms from road construction to infrastructural development. In the back of your shot over there, you can see the new LPRC corporate building. If you look on the other side, you will see the NPA corporate building.
NPA corporate building. That's Minister Lamine-Fagon. Let me bring my team of analysts. A strong supporter of the ruling establishment, Professor Asese Labozaulo, near the capital of Washington, D.C., is here. From Atlanta, Georgia, is a free thinker, an opposition guy, Amos George, is also in the house. And of course, from Sacramento Bureau, top of the Liberia Public Radio, LPR, Liberty Party base, Samson Brown told non-membership. His membership is limited to Sacramento and California. There he is. He's here joining us. Gentlemen, guys, good evening. What a great Saturday evening. Good evening. Good afternoon. Is that still afternoon, Samson told on your end?
No, it's still in the morning. No, I'm just kidding. It's afternoon here. 9 o'clock is it.
Venetian
5:15 here.
And Mikey, you got to advise your Samson tour. He's starting now. You have not even started the program. He trying to have a bad day. He trying to make a bad day for himself. Okay, I'm gonna leave that. All right, gentlemen, good evening and welcome to our regular talking point conversation. We want to welcome all of you here and let's get it going. Professor, good evening, welcome. Amos George, welcome. The Liberal Progressive, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Stone.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, so the end of the week, it went like a wild geese. A lot of things happening. So I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to see what is the major news from your end. And note the city lights up and all of that. So I'm quite sure I won't be surprised. That will be the very first talking point, the argument of Professor Zawulo. And I'm wondering how Amos George is going to debunk that. I'm wondering to see whether the Liberal Progressive himself going to eat crow here this evening here. He always talk about when time comes, then he somersault, then he take the leap off without no proper excuse. Okay, let me start from the opposition bloc. Samson Toh.
Yes.
Okay, was that yesterday? I know you're a good historian. Was that yesterday the president lights up the city?
Yeah, which was a wonderful, wonderful thing to see. Except I will not go as far as the seditions and all the supporters are going, celebrating as though these kinds of things have not happened before in the history of Liberia. But I don't blame most of the sedition, because most of them were not even born when light was in Monrovia. So perhaps this is their first time. However, these things are expected of the government. I'm not too sure why we're all in the street and what have you. We're supposed to congratulate the government, but it was not just the executive that was involved. So I think, as Pat Joyce said yesterday, if you're going to do these kinds of stuff, you will be better off to involve all Liberians. In fact, and I will read it from the apropos agenda here. This is one of the things they stated, that they want all hands on deck. But you're going to go turn the lights on and you don't invite the senator of Moserata County. You don't invite and then when the debate time came, they wanted the senator to name all of the officials of the county. But yesterday they are unable to invite the officials of the county. I thought that was very much dishonest, to be honest with you.
Wow, this is unbelievable. Seriously? Samson told the Liberal has formed whatever alliance. I'm not sure what his alliance will hold on with Amos George, because George is not like him. He's tried to remake and try to serve like a nice dinner salad here. And I'm not thinking Professor Zawulo is off for that. If you're in Liberia, I see a good friend here, Madam Wilson. Gertrude, thank you for joining us here. Mikey, please come to your Liberal here. Professor Zawulo, let me just bring you in here. Ask Samson Toh a simple question. And he has gone to Town, to Nima County, Bon County, Monrovia. I don't know, he went to Sierra Leone, to Ghana, and from Rhode Island, here, my own state, and he fled to Sacramento. Hear what he's talking. Are you surprised?
No, well, first of all, Mr. Toh, sorry, I haven't seen you in a while. Our condolences to you.
Thank you.
I spoke to Tommy. Yeah, I spoke to Tommy, and again, have our condolences. Okay. I think the Liberal Progressive, I think he missed the bigger picture. I think the bigger picture here is not about who was invited or who wasn't invited. the bigger picture here is a broader implication of the government's action. You know, recently there were Liberians who were chattering that the president had said that people should buy CCTV to be able to monitor their properties. And we said that some of us have been saying that the president was not speaking literally, because we knew the president had this plan. You know, leading the city, it has a very positive national security implications. And I think we should be applauding the government for that. I think all other things are minute, inconsequential, and totally unimportant. The most important here is that we got light in the city. It will serve as a deterrent. It will serve to provide better security for the residents of the city. So it's a victory for our people. And I don't think we should take it lightly. Yes, the Pro-Poor agenda aligns some of these things. But you understand also, the Unity Party had an agenda. There were so many things they promised Liberian people, and they failed to deliver on these things. So it is applaudable that this government is delivering on the promises it made to its people. So I think it's a big thing, and we should be applauding it rather than being concerned about who was invited or who wasn't invited. At the end of the day, the market woman who will feel secure to go to bed and leave her goods to where she keeps it will not care whether this person or that person attended the official ceremony. All she will care about is that her goods are protected, because there's light around the area where she stores her goods, and it will drive away potential thieves. That's what is most important.
Okay, let me go to Atlanta, Georgia, to where base is the news breaker now. What is the lady name that led the battle against the Republican courts for Democrats to get the edge? Amos George is standing by in Atlanta, Georgia. Amos George, is it possible that you're going to form coalition with something with that sort of coalition? Or you think so? He's trying to be friend with you here this evening.
It's not because it's me. We are walk, we are dancing.
Oh, just why who? You know, Mr. Joy, let me get you off. Your audio is terrible. So that our people let me get you up. I'm not sure what's going on. Yeah. You see. So, Lebra,
Mr. So, let me remind the professor. And first of all, Professor, thank you for the sympathy. We appreciate it. Our brother will be buried next week, and it was a very sad situation for all of us. But I, of course, if he was here, he would tell us to carry on anyway. But thanks for your sympathy. We appreciate it. Now, let's get back to the discussion here. Mr. So, let me remind the good professor, to be honest with you, and he's a very learned man, so he knows exactly where I'm going. Let me remind the good professor. And before I remind him, let me
yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Is it okay?
Let me just go on here. Mm-hmm. From the Pro-Poor agenda.
Okay. After something to I'll bring you in, Mr. George. Yeah, go ahead.
From the Pro-Poor agenda, which you heard in your opening, you have Eugene Falcon making reference to the Pro-Poor agenda. And they're now going to be told, a good thing, I've been talking about Pro-Poor agenda, so apparently they've been listening to me, that they need to involve or evoke the Pro-Poor agenda from time to time. And apparently they're doing that. No wonder why people on the other side of the aisle continue to call me undercover sedition. But that's not the point. This is what I have to say here to the professor. Let me just read this from the Pro-Poor agenda. Okay? The Pro-Poor agenda will focus on bringing growth back to the economy by increasing productivity through value chain, emphasis on agro process, productivity, fishing, and everything else. But here's the most important thing he said. What is Pro-Poor agenda is the question. And this is coming from the president's message. What is the Pro-Poor agenda? It is the framework for inclusion, more equitable, distribution of our natural wealth, and the right-based approach to national development for new and better Liberia. Let me go on. In our same statement, he also said, we the Liberia, we cannot develop Liberia without quality infrastructure and skilled labor force. In this regard, the president said, we foresee a new Liberia that is technically engaged and information and communication technology playing a fundamental role in improving. Our next step, he said, we must have Liberians at home and abroad fully engaged and be partner in whatever development or developmental process that is happening. The president, knowing for a while, the lighting process, the money is not coming from any of their pocket. That is the Liberian people money. It was your policy, we appreciate it. It was your doing, we appreciate that. But if you're going to do this thing, and you already told us in your proper agenda that you're going around boasting about now, you told us you're going to do this thing with inclusion, people bringing people on board. But you're sitting there lighting the light of Moserado County, and you don't have the senator present. You don't have any of the legislature who were able to pass the law for which you gave you the benefit, gave you the money, whatever it is, for you to do what you didn't even bring any of these people on. Are you kidding me? This is not a banana republic, Professor. This is a republic of Liberia, where you have three equal branches of government. They all have to participate in order for you to uplift this country. It is not a CDC government, CDC country of Liberia. It's not a CDC country. This is a republic of Liberia. If you're going to do these things, and they are very important, and we appreciate the president and the executive of doing that. My concern is that these things should not be practiced like this. We are a very small country, and if you bring people on board, it shows to everyone else that we are here to do business. But if you do this kind of stuff, then we consider them a campaign issue, and we can discard them as such, Professor.
Okay. The professor will come in here. Let me bring in Pa Joyce here. So let's do a little surgical operations on the sessions by Samson Toe, because he throw a lot of red meat and all of chicken from toe time. He just makes here acting like he fixing salad for us here. But that did not table that doesn't work for me. Wait a minute. I'm wondering here, but before you speak, was this done in isolation that the president will call when there is a dedicatory ceremony? Does the president have to extend a specific? It's a national government operating. Let's be a little real here. Pa Joyce, can you respond?
Yes, Bob. Let me say this. The president doesn't have.
I think I hope your mic don't have COVID-20 because I want that, not 19. I don't know what's going on with it now, more than COVID-19 now. Why he got so everybody audio looks perfect while your end is
I don't want my mic. Maybe
you want to work on it and come back? Yeah, okay. Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it that way. Let's do it. Okay, Professor.
Yeah. Again, I think the Liberal Progressive again is missing the point. And he invited to his assistance direct quotations from the Pro-Poor agenda. And clearly what he read affirms what I said. Look, this is not a show. It is about impacting people's lives. And the most important thing about the Pro-Poor agenda is not about show. It's not about putting on display who passed the law or who didn't pass the law. It's about doing things to impact on the lives of people and any individual who felt that the turning of lights in Monrovia was very important, had the right, had the freedom to arrive and witness the ceremony. Also, I'd like to add here that to say that senators were not invited or members of the House of Legislature were not invited, I think that is a little bit distant from the truth, because there were senators and members of the House of Representatives who participated in a ceremony and who watched the ceremony, within a reasonable proximity of where it was happening. So that, I think that's false and misleading to suggest that they were not invited. In as much as we understand the need to harness all of our resources when we engage in some of these kind of like national endeavors. The fact that we don't see certain people on the scene when we are dedicating these things doesn't take away from the fact that the bringing of lights to the streets of Monrovia will help to ease the security problem, will allow for even fewer movement of people at night, because business nowadays, we live in a world where business is not just conducted in the day. There are certain businesses that must prepare themselves at night. So it doesn't take away from any one of those things. And I'll tell you the truth. What the Liberian people are excited about today is the fact that previous government have created this narratives that the only way Liberia can be developed is Liberia has to depend on people from outside to develop it. What this government has proven is that, look, the taxpayer money can be put to work to develop and improve our living condition and bridge the social economic inequities of our society. And so that's what this government is doing. And you cannot take anything away from that by the lack of presence of certain individual you might want to see. This is not a show. It's not a pageant. It's about touching lives. And that's what the president did. So let's applaud you.
So let me expand a little bit here and go much deeper to our man Carlson, Bill, to want to welcome you, please, and all of you folks, 48 Alice, all of you joining us. So the Liberal.
Yes.
Your argument here, are you saying the opposition calling there should be a specific invitation to invite them, or I don't know, is that what you're hearing from your end, that they were saying invited? Were they not aware of the lightning of the city or something like that? Or is just a political type gaming that we want to talk about?
Look, Mr. So, let's take it as it is. Let's take it serious a little bit. Almost a year ago, I've been predicting that this government, within 2 or 3 years before the election, they will try to find some sort of an impactful project and run it as though it's a political. I call them political project, just like they did with the street building the alley street in Monroe. Political project, I call them. But this is little bit different, because this is about the capital city of the Republic of Liberia. Now, this president, and I've already stated it, I give him credit for bringing these things to light, no pun intended, but bringing these kinds of developmental agenda to light and carrying on the process. In other words, carrying on the process of building lights and putting lights in Monroe and what have you, under his leadership. My concern and my problem that I have here is this. This is such an important a milestone in Liberian history, especially after the Civil War, that if you're going to do this, you have to involve whether opposition or not. You involve everybody to say, look, in fact, if the president had gone out and invite, and I'm just saying if he had gone out to invite the opposition, and they were
let me intercept you here, and you will still have the opportunity. Your session seems to be on the speculations or speculating or hoping or maybe believing that the opposition they were saying call. Is that your argument or what?
Mr. So, if they did and then turn out, that should be the statement made by the president or those who organized it.
Are you calling me for the president to come out to say we invite the opposition, they don't come?
Yeah, exactly.
Have you talked to your young parents?
Mr. So, this is what I'm telling you. this is it's a political season. Let us don't turn it into some sort of a kumbaya time. No, the sedition we're touting there as the progress for them, for people, the reason why people should vote for them, to keep them for the next 6 years. And these are kinds of things that, so if they're going to do that, we must approach it from that perspective. This is a political time. That's why my point here, you invite the leader from the opposition. If they don't show up during your, that just to show that you, as a sedition leader, you're not only there for CDC, but you're there for the entire country. Unity is your way of talking. Folks, Liberian, you tell Liberian, look, in the interest of unity, we invited this opposition to be part of this groundbreaking process or whatever it is that is going to bring joy to all Liberians, but they refuse. But I don't know, I'm not going to, and then you move on. But at least Liberian will be aware that you have unity in the background. And then you got a good professor saying this is not show. Nobody talking about show. We're talking about unity. But we will flog them. Let them continue to give us the unforced error like this. We will flog them massively. Yeah. Because I'm not playing around.
Yeah, but it's unfortunate, it's extremely unfortunate that the opposition will try to create a situation of a binary world in Liberia, us against them. And for us at the CDC, we believe in the overall development of our people. Our focus is not on politics. Our focus is not on making our government look good. Look, our people are suffering. And they are suffering because we inherited a government that existed for over 170 years that did not have the basic framework to address some of the burning issues of our country, where a significant portion of our country lays on less than $1 a day. We inherited a system wherein the previous government alluded to the brokenness of our education system, but did nothing. So for us, the most important thing is to address those situations so as they can serve as inhibitors for confusion, pandemonium, and war. And what are some of those conditions we want to address? We want to improve education and educational opportunities for young people. We also want to ensure better safety and security for Liberian people. You know that armed robbery is a big issue in Monrovia. What this does is that it kind of helps to ease the situation. And so for us, it is not about assembling the whole world. We know that the members of the legislature today in their homes, they are proud of the action of this government. We do not see the legislature, we do not see people in the opposition as enemies. We see them as partner in progress. And whatever was accomplished today, they are part of it. They don't necessarily have to come there and stand up and see the light being turned on to know they are partners. You said it right already. The legislature has to pass the laws. They have to write the bills that will allow for these things to take place. Unfortunately, I think what's happening here is that people are seeing every action of government as being political, as being something of a campaign. And that's the issue here. So I think you are hastening to attribute whatever display that was carried out to be one of a political campaign. Look, we just lost elections. We're not in the campaign mood right now. We're thinking about touching lives. The market woman doesn't care about who wins the election next time. What she wants is that she wants people not to steal her little things that she can store at night. Okay? That's what is important. She doesn't even care whether members of the House of Representatives are present when they are turning on the lights to protect her goods. She doesn't care. She just wants a chance to be able to send her children to school. And what gives her that chance is the fact that her goods will not be stolen. She will be able to sell it. She'll be able to raise money to pay the tuition. And that's what the ordinary people of Liberia are interested in. And not concerned about us not having a pageant of legislators and creating a platform for people to come and make fabulous speeches. No, this is about touching lives, Mr. Tour. This is serious. This is not politics. It's life touching. It's a life transforming moment.
Mr. So, I hate to interrupt. Please, if you don't mind, I hate to interrupt the professor. Yeah, let me just look at Minister Farrakhan, who is a deputy minister of this government, CDC government. He said they're not talking politics. Let's just read a little bit from Minister Farrakhan. This is what he wrote. He goes, yeah. Let me see. He said, CPP witches and wizards feeling the city light tonight because the light came on very bright and good. Go away for good. That's not politics. Okay. Let's go ahead. He goes on to ice for BBC. Where is BBC Jennifer Pelede? Please come and report this historic event. Light in Monrovia. President Weah. That's not politics. Professor, let us don't play.
Let me just add to what he said, but it doesn't mean I'm going to form a correlation with you because some of the things you're talking here this evening is sounding so ridiculous.
I don't need your help, Mr. Conservative. I can handle myself with you all by myself. I don't need coalition. What I'm saying
so
is
ridiculous.
We accept it.
Okay, so let me, Pa George.
Yeah.
Okay, much better. I'm happy that because I don't want I want you to form part of this because we want to give our audience the opportunity as well, like to talk about their country. I believe you are saying on this network you are in opposition.
I'm independent.
Independent. Okay, yeah, we are. Yeah, our liberal is saying. And he kicks the can down the road. He said that this is not the government alone, it's member of the other group. So he's making reference to the legislature because that was a bill. So my guess here, this lighting of the system was not done in isolation. So the three branches of government or national government, they were all involved. Now I kept hearing him saying the opposition wasn't invited. Did they have government? You can be in the opposition, but if you're a senator, you're a representative, or minister of government, whatever, you work for the government. You don't have government in government. Your policy it can differ with the government, and that can be expressed, But I'm finding it a little bit hard to comprehend and to understand the argument of the liberal. Is it coming from the Liberty Party? Closer or what? Or where it's coming from? I just don't know. Can you help me to interpret what he's saying?
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree with Mr. Todd to some extent. Professor Zawafas is saying it's not politics, but Professor, how can you say it's not politics?
How can I say there's no politics? Because we're not preaching politics. We are trying to touch lives.
It is.
We're trying to. Yeah.
There is the thing here. First, it started as the President Project. The President Project. And if you tell me this is Professor Zawa project.
Just the Obamacare.
Hold on. Obama was not Obamacare. It was Republican that named it because they didn't like it. And they felt the hatred for it, so they attached his name to it. So there's
the Biden. The Biden cost $1,400.
Hold on. So it was a Republican that did that. Okay. It was not Democrat that did that. It was a Republican in order to tell the support the hatred they have for Obama. So anything Obama put his hand on is not good. But it was Sedition that said this is Weah project. Hold on. Sedition said that was the government about Weah project. And I question, why are you saying it's Weah project? The government allocated the funds for this project, and it is every Liberian in that country that contribute towards that project. So why it being called Weah project? That's number one. Two, if the person is going to dedicate this big project as he's saying, and they have made it this big project, why they didn't call upon God? Because normally that's the protocol I have seen before. But this is a new Liberia, so maybe everything.
The issue of calling here, let me intercept here. The issue of calling here, and I have my own concerns and view with respect to the project, how it's being coined and how people term it. That's a different thing we're going to come to here. But the issue, have we heard anything as to whether people were saying invited? Was it done in isolation? That's what I want to know.
And I will address that.
I heard Senator Johnson, he was invited, so there was no invitation. Yeah, I heard Senator Johnson, he was not invited. I don't know whether the superintendent of Mosara was present. But Professor, these are some of the things we must talk about it. The letting of the street emerald is fine. But when protocols are not observed, it's just wrong. Because you set a precedent for tomorrow. Okay, you are empowered, you are defending the action of the president, not inviting any government official from either side. Okay, for you today is good. That's precedent that you want us to set. The next person tomorrow will come when he dedicated anything in McGivey. He doesn't have to invite any senator from McGivey. He just go there and do his dedication. That's what we're seeing now.
But let me correct you here. Let me correct you here. I don't know whether on the job description of President Weah is to write invitation to government officials.
Not writing invitation. You have the press secretary, you have the chief of protocol. That is job. It's not the president personally.
That's what I'm saying. That's a prerogative of the protocol.
So those people, and they work for President Weah. So you cannot tell me if the protocols are not doing the work, the president is not doing his work. You can't say that is an excuse.
No, this is what I'm saying to you is that let's look. There's several things I wanted to correct. One, first of all, I think you guys are reading into people's statement literally. But let me contextualize it here. Right now, the Democrats are working on a bill that will give Americans about $1,400. Certain groups of Americans $1,400. What do you hear out there to people? What do you hear generally?
Listen,
Biden,
10 Republicans was invited to the White House. 10 Republicans.
I understand.
Okay.
And they didn't listen to them. Yeah, they didn't listen to them.
Yeah, they were invited. They were invited. If they don't
didn't
want
listen to them.
Hold
Look,
on.
we're not here to play games.
Don't tell me that I don't listen to the news or I don't follow news, because what you're trying to draw on there is not right. It's not.
What I'm saying, but you didn't get me to finish. What I'm saying to you is that at the end of the day, what people hear around here is that President Biden will be giving American $1,400. That does not mean literally the money is taken from President Biden's pocket. So what I wanted to say here is, look, when people refer to activities and actions of the government to be Weah project, what they are basically saying, and you know and I know, all they are saying is that these things are being implemented under the leadership of President Weah. That's how we in Africa, that's how we all around the world characterize things that are done during the term of office of any of our leaders. You will hear the people say, Tubman built the Anthony Tubman Stadium. Tubman built University of Liberia. Doe built SKD Stadium, and the rest of it. It doesn't mean the money was taken physically from President Doe's pocket or President Tubman's pocket or from President Tubman's pocket. The problem with Liberia is that there are people who are so bent on, who are so driven by hate for President Weah, they don't even want to hear the name mentioned. And they've been associated with anything possible. I'm serious.
Professor, let me say this.
Okay, hold on.
What are the hate President Weah? That their business, everybody have the right to elect and to diselect anybody. But when we are charged with a function to do, or you are given a responsibility to do, you must do it. So the excuse about people say they hate me,
Mr. Saul, let me point out some observation here, please. I have an observation here, and it's very, very, very telling. Very telling. We've been on this kinds of show here for quite a while now, all four of us. And it seemed to me that we're looking at Professor Murphy a little bit from as close as a time comes for the election. The professor is changing his tone, it seemed to me. It seemed like the professor is now becoming more of a defender and defensive on every issue. There's no longer a middle ground as far as he's concerned. Now he's even using the word President we are hater. I've never heard that saying that before since we've been on here. Now people hating President we. I think election is getting too close. But let me say this to the professor, Professor, one of the things I want you to understand is what I'm saying and what I've been suggesting all evening is this. We have a culture in Liberia. Even though we are different, the culture is different, but we have one thing in common, and that is we respect one another. There's no question asked. Before the election, just before the election that brought President Weah in, Madam Salif was doing the dedication process in, I think it was in Lofa County or Bon County, one of those road construction. Ambassador Weah, who was then senator, was invited.
Yeah.
One thing, you're going to light the light, and I'm sure the past administration must have some sort of a hand in this. You're going to light the light. You didn't even invite the Omar in it. You didn't invite
no.
Uncle.
It's a tool.
You didn't invite
He just shot himself in the leg.
It's a tool.
So that's all that I'm saying.
No,
It's
very important. She did not invite vice president.
Mr. Tool.
She did not invite a vice president.
Mr. Tool. Professor Dawa, here is the thing here. I said it again. Let me repeat this. Professor, about the bar you're setting, it is the bar that tomorrow we're going to operate on. But you didn't have problem. We are not from Bon County. Was invited by Ellen Johnson City to go and break ground for the Bon County Lofa Highway. There was no problem with that for you. It was okay. Once it was your senator now president, it was okay. But today, you say it's bad for him to invite any opposition leader. And I'm saying to you, it is the precedent because everything is based on precedent. So the precedent that you setting for me, I do not have a problem with it. I just want the Liberian people to know. Tomorrow, when the next group is in power, when they do the same thing, nobody should question them. Because this is how CDC is operating. They want to project themselves to the people as we are the one that are doing this. Nobody has done it for you people. This is how CDC is operating. But forgetting to know that other people outside know that the legislature allocated that fund for that project. Okay? So, but they want to present it like it's the president personally taking that initiative. That is the action they are presenting out there to the public, and which I'm saying is wrong. There's no way you will be the superintendent of McGivey, the senator of McGivey, the president is going to open Lango Lepe after the renovation. He go there to reopen the school, and the superintendent, the senator from that county will not be invited. You say that is okay, fine. But but that's why you say it. That's why you tried. You say he doesn't need to. No, that's why you tried. You said that he doesn't need to call a choir there, opposition choir to sing. You say he doesn't need to do that. And I'm saying, but if you see that, then that's the same thing. Why I give you some illustration in my give you say no? It's what we are seeing. Let me just close.
So let's have it orderly now. So
the
professor will have the chance to respond before I come in.
Let me just close on this note. This project, we don't know how much it cost. We don't know. It will pass. We don't know how much it will cost. We don't know the contractors involved. I got a tip the other day. They showed me a picture on SKD complex with all the light poles there. They say that is the light pole they're using to put in the street. Who are the contractors? How they got this contract? They look at the contract. These are some of the things we should be finding out. But today, nobody is saying anything because it's President Weah. And the moment he talk, they will say you're a hater. For me, I like to be called a hater. I like to be called a hater of President Weah. He was elected to perform, to do a job. And if he's doing it, and if anything needed, or to say, to question why it's happening, and if someone will say, I'm one of those haters, I'm fine with it. But we will continue to speak up. What the president did or what he's doing is not right. If you are going to dedicate a big project in any county, the county officials, that is including the superintendent, the legislature, must be informed.
Yeah.
Must be invited there. This was not done in Maserado.
Right.
Professor, you say it's okay, that's fine.
I didn't say so.
You said it. You keep it. You said it. You said it.
Let me tell you what I said to you. What I said to you.
Let's Professor come in, and then I will wait.
Yeah.
Go
I
on.
said, I said what is most important here is what was done to improve the conditions within the city. All other things are immaterial.
Okay, but that's
And
what you
also-
say. I mean, it's not important.
Also, yeah, they're not important.
Okay, and that's a bad setting.
Yeah.
What,
Let me also add here. Go ahead, Mr. To. Mr. So you want to ask a question?
okay, now because I pushed the liberal and
I wanted to finish with because I wanted Mr. So let me finish with Mr.
go ahead. Before you go.
To and he keep me shouting second in the leg because he talk about this government not inviting, and the previous government invited Senator Weir at that time when he was senator. Interestingly, that government did not invite the vice president who came from Lofa. And that was not politics, right? Now, I'm not saying that one wrong makes everything right. But
We spoke about what was wrong.
Mr.
Someone else spoke about it.
I'm not sure Mr. Tour did, but tonight he invoked that.
Yes, we did. And in fact, Professor, what you're talking about is what we have. The vice president was literally packed in the garage, and the president and Madam Salim thought she was going to take another new car, and
So-
that's what brought in Dr. Weir. So
The same Helen Johnson Sirleaf who packed his vice president, the same Helen Johnson Sirleaf, from your own words, who packed his vice president, that's the same Helen Johnson Sirleaf. Are you saying we should invite her? Is that why you're saying?
You suggested that. You suggested that.
With respect to Liberian culture, please don't try to muddy my words.
No.
And try to turn it into some sort of
Mr. Tour,
idea. Please.
Let's do it this way here. Let's do it this way. Let's have a little order in the house. The folks are following us here too. Now we get into a little information according to why, and I'm going to base my argument on what Pa George is saying, that Senator Darius Dillon said he was not invited. I have to authenticate that here, but based on the little that we know here, let's have this conversation. I'm going to come right back at the professor. It seems to me, Professor, the communications aspect of this government seems to be, it seems not to still be organized. And I can remember months back, there was a circulation that they were going to kind of like going to strengthen their communications as to how the government message is being put out there. There is a protocol. All it needed was a memo or circulation, a memo of the Senate, representative, the judiciary, and forces, especially when it's a big event, not an individuals. It's just send that generic, circulation for them to come. And this is where something told left out here. And this seems to be a problem. I don't really care people who seditious or people who support the government to say they are talking out of ignorance, and that's what they do not know. And they are not even helping the government. And the government herself, people who speaks for the government too, listen to UJ Fagon. This is the guy who's supposed to fine-tune government's agenda, but he's consistently in a habit of fighting this sort of battle here. This is what he tweeted. When will you switch on the CPP light in the Senate from $3.50 to $95,000, $90K car bomb light off? Right? It's a deputy. Let's be real here. This is a deputy minister of information for public affairs. You knew those days of Moses Washington. Those people that were there, the Lamin Warrington, and all of those people, Emmanuel Bouya, all of those guys that were there. I think this should have been a good talking point, good argument on the part of the government, people who speaks for the government, to do it instead of monitoring what good is happening. I don't think this was right. Why should he go and tweet on this sort of stuff like this?
Yeah, I have repeatedly told you here that our government has to transition from propaganda to communication. I understand and agree with you that the Deputy Minister of Information for Public Affairs should be focusing on more of communicating government policies than trying to engage in propaganda around government policies. So I do not understand why he did so. But I tell you one thing, for the president and those who I know are close to the president, this thing is just a normal performance of the duty, the things that we swore to the Liberian people we're going to do. We don't see it as anything big. No, it's a low-key event. But here's the thing, another thing I wanted to add here is that there was a proper protocol surrounding these activities. There were circulation or released, was a circulation released explaining who was supposed to be at what place and who was going to do this from this end and who was going to do that from the other end. And there were other things that were released to the people who were supposed to be involved that were not also released in that general document because it would not make it very bulky. But to assume that there were not protocols put in place, that's not right. Protocol was put in place, it was observed. There was a low-key event. It didn't have to involve millions of people. In fact, if I would be more concerned, if I was in the position of the president, I'll be more concerned about bringing in market women, pimping riders, and the bag riders to come and celebrate that event, and to bring people who yet do not even believe in this government.
So what I mean, are you saying government officials they shouldn't? It was not within the purview for the executive to invite them. Is that what you're saying, Professor?
I'm telling you one thing. I'm more what transpired was for the people of Liberia, and the people who are supposed to be receiving it are the ordinary people of Liberia. I would not lose sleep over the absence of members of the House of Representatives at that ceremony. I'm not going to lose sleep over that.
It seems to me you are telling us that the government should go solo. It doesn't need the opposition to get things
I didn't tell you so. I said to you that when we are launching such a thing, it doesn't call for fanfare. If there's any fanfare, it should be fanfare with ordinary people. Look, and some of the people you are encouraging people. Some of the people you are encouraging people to.
Pa George, you changed your audio again. You're gone corrupted, though. I don't know why.
You won't give me a hard time, so your audio will be bad.
Like you want to go back?
I can't for the Giving Mountain. He doesn't know.
Oh God, this is. Okay, let's see. I hope you. I hope you.
Maybe Pa George needs some of these things here to settle the professor down.
Where was that? Okay. Where was that thing for the county meet? What was that thing for the county meet?
Okay.
They flock Grand there from day one. They even reach. They not even past Kakata. Then you want to show cars. Yeah. Go ahead. You want to speak? Let me see why your audio. Yeah, so it's the communication aspect, but ordinary people. I mean, we were all, even if the Unity Party people were there.
Audio is bad.
Yeah, I think I'm hearing. Pa George, are you there?
I told you that
Pa George.
we contact our oracles from the Giving Mountain. Say you want to give me a hard time.
Okay. So, it's okay.
Yeah.
Professor, let me tell you this. All you're doing is just excuses you're finding for the action of your government. If the president of Liberia is going to dedicate anything, it's not a low-level key function. The president uses that when the president goes somewhere, he can use the bullet pulpit. When he speaks, the whole country listening. So the president cannot go anywhere to do a public function and say it's a low key something you prefer, marketeers. Now, if you prefer marketeers, what are the president of the marketing association there? What are the president of the motorport, the pimping association there? What are those people saying?
That's my concern. Why would they not do it?
Because if you knew, or you are part of, you defending the government, but all the people you name it, they were not there.
That's my concern.
So
that's what I'm concerned.
So the issue here is you trying to navigate this thing, but for me, it's just hard.
Hard for what?
Because yet it's a reality. When protocol are not carried on the proper way, we must speak, and you don't want to take, that is your government don't want to take full responsibility of the action. And you are seeing, I continue to ask you, is this bar you set in the prison setting, is that how official government should operate? You're saying, oh no, you're not seeing so. But at the same time, you don't want to hold them accountable that they did something, that your person did something wrong. You don't want to hold. But I come back to you.
Yeah.
The question I continue to ask you is that even if you say, because you want to make it like a low level thing, but this thing the whole week, 2 weeks, the press secretary of the executive mansion was on TV talking about it, the dedication of the road. I mean, the lights on Friday. The press secretary said it. So if it was going to be a low program, why would the press secretary get on Facebook TV to announce it if it was going to be a low-key program? It wasn't a low-key program, but your president, I can say so, your president, it seemed to that he had problem with people that he disagree with. That's the issue. So even if they work for government, once you disagree with them,
just like you,
hold on.
You got problem with people who you don't agree with. Just like you, like everybody.
If I have a problem, that is quite different from doing the government function. If I disagree with you and you have to do a work that pertains to the government, who must go together to do the work?
Let me ask before the liberal come in. So, Professor Zaulo, what is the justifications of the case you're building here? I mean, we were just talking about lack of protocol always being in place, the lack of communication. Regardless of what we see here, even with all of what is going on here at the West Wing and Capitol Hill, there's still, you see, the Republican leaders, they invited in. There's some sort of chain of communication. We're not seeing that sort of chain of communication. So whether do we agree, we can't just be judgmental to say, okay, they will not do this here. We don't see that coming. And so what people are saying, it is the responsibility of the executive to stretch their hands and let's see whether the opposition will say, no, we're not going to do this.
I think it's two-way street. I think if for any reason the executive does not engage in that, the legislature or other branches of government also, given the fact that this event was being broadcast.
But this time around, it is Professor, not to cut you off, this one, it is the executive that were executing. They're the one conducting. So when you are executing, you will send out invitation to invite people who you want to attend the function.
I think they did. Invitation was sent to the people who, to most of the people who the executive felt
they were
supposed to be there. Yeah. So there's no rule that say that when you are launching such a program, you should invite the entire House or the Senate. No, there's no rule for that. So you invite people
Professor, this is absolutely wrong. And it's absolutely wrong, Professor.
Hold on 1 second. Let him finish.
You don't legislate preference. Invitation to these occasions about preference. The person who plans this program will have the preference of individuals who they want to be at that program. You don't legislate it. You don't decide it in the court of public opinion. You decide on your personal preference.
So let me ask you, is this how we're going to, in the next end of the next 2-3 years, is that how we're going to see it?
I'm not talking about what's going to happen tomorrow. What I know is that this particular program, the protocol was observed. Those who were supposed to be at the program were invited, and the program went on well. Liberian people are happy. They commended the president for his great initiative, and the people are enjoying.
No, I'm happy that the city likes. Another, there's a component of it, the legitimacy of this whole thing here. That's one. But if we say we want to build a consensus, if we say we want to have things done this time, is the executive branch of government that is executing, that is carrying on a specific event. And I agree with Toll, it is a collection of these other branches of government, the legislation passing whatever budget, we don't even know all of the detail. That's a different ball game. But don't you think it would have been more prudent that the executive branch of government have extended invitation to those people and let us wait and see? But what I'm hearing is a preference, so it means
So
they have been selected people who to go. Is that way?
invitation was extended. Invitation was extended. It was extended to the people who the executive felt should have been at the ceremony.
But Professor, let me ask you.
Executive affairs. So are you saying you will have something in the exclude member of the House of
So you're
Representatives?
not excluding them. You're only preferring certain people to be present. We don't do exclusion
Now,
thing.
Professor, let me ask you again.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question again. Let me repeat this question to you.
Uh-huh.
If you were the superintendent of Maghibie County,
Yeah.
and there is a college based in Maghibie by the government of Liberia,
Yeah.
and the president is going to dedicate that college,
Mhm.
you were not invited.
Yeah.
The two senators from there were not invited.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Maybe I'll start thinking about the job I'm doing.
No. I'm just asking you.
No, it might be.
No, Professor Sabo.
Yeah.
Don't dodge the answer.
I'm
Don't
not
dodge the question.
I'm not going to answer.
No, don't deflect. No, don't deflect the question.
Let me say this.
I'm not asking your job.
You are presenting a
No, it's
hypothetical.
not hypothetical, Professor.
It's not
Don't
happening yet.
deflect. No, Professor, don't deflect the question. I'm not asking
So
you
let me
the
stop
question.
in
Yeah,
here.
hold on 1 second. Pajoy,
Yeah.
Mr. So let me step in.
you don't force people to answer.
No, I'm not forcing him, but I'm just telling him.
Let me
He's
let me
deflecting
step
the question.
in here, Josh.
I
Not
just want to
deflecting.
make that note that you're deflecting the question. I didn't say your function as president of the college. I didn't ask you your job function. I'm just saying the
What I'm-
invitation.
Yeah.
If you are not invited, is that okay? I didn't ask you what you're going to do or you continue to do your job. That's what I asked. But if you can't answer it, that's okay. Let's move
I
on.
can answer the question. My answer to
Let me step in here.
The question.
Mr. Two wants to come, but let me just answer your question. My answer to that is that if that happens to me, I'll begin to take a stock of myself and begin to understand, to appreciate why I may or may not have been invited. That's a soul searching opportunity.
No, why so such? Are you seeing that?
Listen, guys.
Because
Let me say this.
Mhm.
Let me say this. I think, and I could be wrong, but from what I'm hearing from the professor and what I've heard from him before, I think he and I could be wrong, but I don't mind speculating because that's what I do and I do that well. I think the professor is in constant contact with people now on ground in CDC because it seemed to me the professor tone is changing. The professor seemed to be, and he's right here, and I'm not making it up. It seemed to be that the professor is defending things that are indefensible. There's things that the professor would not have come out to defend a few months back. But now, as I stated, and I continue to say, the closer we get to the election, the professor tone is changing. So I think from now on, let us be real and expect that from the professor. He's CDC throughout. So therefore, these kinds of arguments will come about. They did it before 12 years. Why they didn't do it? That Matana, that why you ready to question me? Those kinds of debate will come now from the professor. So I think we should be ready and prepare ourselves. Now, let me just say something here very quickly. The professor says a few minutes ago, he said that, this CDC government is now they're thinking about education and helping the people, the country educational process, and many things that are happening in the country. So now they want to look at them. He also mentioned something like the country since 1847, there's no structure or something to that effect. My question now, Professor, you guys been in opposition for 12 years. Were you not prepared?
We are prepared.
Is it now after 3 years of an inept government? Now you want to tell me you're ready now to take one or two things? Professor, that ship and the train have left the station. We're going to flock you come 2023. You cannot stay on this one lighting Monterey 19 say you have done something. Like after the election is over. You guys were flocked massively. You would think CDC would try to pivot and bring in people on board that will try to carry out the policy of the CDC. But what do? They keep the same people. And in fact, they pretend to say the election never even happened. They pretend to be like they're doing good. Professor, and look at your argument this afternoon. If we were to go back and bring the clip from your previous engagement and put them side by side, you yourself would be shocked.
No,
Now, it seemed to me that you also believe that CDC have not done anything wrong. And in fact, this election, and I'm being ridiculous now, this election has not happened. Professor, all I can say to you, we're going to be ready from now on to be able to know, now that we know we're arguing or we're engaging sedition, not the professor that we know. Thank you, Mr. So.
Who are you make the we?
I said me. Forget about we.
Well,
I know you're ready to distance yourself from me. That's fine. It's
no,
me.
no.
I'm a liberal. I don't need your conservative help.
Unfortunately, you will be arguing with the same person you argued with before, because nothing has changed. We are, you see, look, we are trying to add value to a situation that is totally valueless. Look, in situations like this, I'm more concerned about the impact of the action than about who's present or who's not present when the official ceremony took place. I think those things are immaterial. I think what we need to be talking about right now, like you said, I talk about education. Look, we are about to transform the educational landscape of Liberia in ways that this country has never seen since its existence. We're about to erect new high schools in several counties. We got a $47 million project right now that we are working on that will put money in the pockets of young girls to keep them in school, to help them buy the sanitary products, to let them stay in school. We have a project that will put cell phones in their hand and pay for their data just to encourage them to stay in school. We have the program that will see counselors, social workers working with girls in schools for the first time in the history of Liberia.
No, when I Professor, this was a counselor in government schools.
Where? Which government?
In the late 70s.
Which government? Which counselor? Even in America, in the United States of America, they didn't even have counselors in a lot of schools in the 70s. So you're talking about Liberia doing it in the 70s? No, we didn't have it.
Okay, let's see here before.
We did not. So look, we have
Professor, let me tell you, this education you continue to stress on, just the other day from your personal speech, the number you gave about the University of Liberia was wrong.
Which number?
The data that 18,000 students are going to the University of Honor here and never happened before, that's wrong.
No, I was not me who said it. I think it was somebody.
I'm telling you, the president made a mention in his speech, and I said that was wrong.
Well, the president mentioned in his speech.
Yeah. Okay. It was wrong. That number is not accurate. You can go now and check it out.
Okay,
so
what was wrong with the number?
The number was fabricated.
No, that's not true. So how was it?
The number was fabricated. The admission number was fabricated.
So what's the president number?
Listen to the speech
What's the president number?
And look at the last numbers of the students that had entered the university.
Hold on 1 second. We can just be putting
about 18,000.
Yeah, let's stick to it.
Mention that.
So
enrollment.
Yes.
You say have gone, but what was the enrollment for 18, 17, and 18?
What?
It was 18,000.
Mr.
So
George,
if you say it going up, it was not on him.
Hello? Yeah, let's come back to base. We're going to be pulling here and there. This is not something told from Total here. All right, so we can just be pulling over here. So let's do that before we pivot and get to a different game here. From what I sensed, what I try to sense out here, this potentially going to be a big deal with the opposition. Mr. Toll.
Yes.
Will we see some sort of argument coming from the opposition column with this, with respect to how the government is conducting herself?
No, I don't think so, Mr. So I don't think that the opposition is going to overlook the importance and the power of the president and under his leadership that we have a lighting in Monrovia. The opposition is very much, I would believe, that they appreciate the effort his leadership to bring the light.
Would that be voiced out, you think, considering what is?
I hope so. Now the opposition, what I would suggest, they should not come back and turn this thing right back on the president. Since the president, it seemed to me that they do not want to be inclusive in this process, the opposition now should come out and say, look, even though we were not, the president want to believe that we don't exist, but we exist. And we, the opposition, want to congratulate the president for bringing this milestone in the Liberian process that we have a lighting condition in Monrovia. However, Monrovia, the opposition should remind the government, Monrovia is not Liberia. The professor just mentioned something about
Mr. Toh, what do you mean by milestone?
You know, what the professor forgot to list? Grand Gide, Maryland, River G, Sino. The only places that we're talking about Malgibi, Nima, and one other another county, Bon County. Please, what happened to us? We don't exist, and this is CDC, and this is why we're going to flux CDC come 2023.
You're making a big mistake. Under the $47 million IRISE grant, Sino County is going to benefit in a big way. So it's spread all across the country. Even Montserrat County doesn't benefit a lot from that $47 million. It's dedicated to counties far.
What happened to Grand Gide?
Like I said, I mean, I'll have to go back and check my facts, but I think
because Grand Gide is not important. That's fine.
Now, first of all, Grand Gide is also, I think Grand Gide is included there. But you see, you cannot include all. You cannot include all of the counties at the same time. So there are also plans and programs for those areas.
Don't worry. All the southeastern region will benefit from it. Don't worry about that.
Yes,
one of the people in the north and central part will not be part of it, but the southeastern region will benefit from some. Don't worry about that. One of the central and west region will not benefit. So don't worry about that.
I come from the north and central region, and I know my people are benefiting. But let me come back. You see, Mr. Toh, I like Mr. Toh. He's a smart man. And what he's done here tonight is that his gain has validated my argument. What did he say the opposition would do? The opposition should. I've said to you that, look, the bigger picture here was what we should focus on. And he clearly came back and said, yeah, that's true. We should focus on the big picture and forget about all the other things. Isn't that what I've been saying tonight?
Well, for me, I'm not saying that. I'm saying protocol must be observed and you must learn to respect other leaders. That's why you disagree with them. But if you think that, I'm saying again, if you think that's the precedent or that is the yardstick we should use to move forward, I don't have a problem. We'll go ahead.
I want to say Mr. Toh came back to defend me today. Thank you very much for your defense. I think you very clearly articulated my point.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully we're going to see. I'm not sure what that ceasefire will hold, because it's definitely somebody will want to make a political, get a political score point on that, to score point on that. But will we see a changing pattern in this year? Because we have talked this thing over and over. I see the president here. Was at yesterday's edition, the 5th edition, the meeting. First cabinet meeting ends successfully. President, we are to review performance report. Professor?
Look, yeah, he's reviewing.
Yeah, he's reviewing. What should we anticipate?
Well, he's going to review the report, and I don't want to preempt what the president is going to do. But one of the things I wanted to talk about why you come into this thing, on a serious note, look, we definitely have to change the way we do politics in Liberia. On a serious note, I've spoken about what transpired, and I said that we should focus on the bigger picture. But look, what's going on in Liberia, we cannot just attribute that to the CDC. This president has made it his duty to reach across the aisles, to bring other people on board and involve them in the greater governance and decision-making of our country. Unfortunately, the way politics run in our country, it prevents us from engaging one another more freely. You know, I was talking to one of my friends, and I said, I would love to see Darius Dillon, Senator Dillon, going to dinner, maybe with Akaris Gray. To see Sir Joseph maybe going to dinner with Yongli Kanga. Sit at the dinner table and engage and talk and disagree on some of the procedures for the management of the affairs of the country, and then leave from dinner, shake each other's hand, go back in chambers and argue. It sends a powerful message to our people.
Professor, let's flip the coins around here. Who should initiate that?
Yeah, I think everyone, it's a responsibility of everyone to negotiate. I don't think it's a responsibility of any one person to initiate it. I think everybody should try to do it.
Okay, let's go. Our contributor Missing is on the line. Let me bring him in, then I'll get back to you. Okay, Missing, are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Okay. What's the side of the story?
Yes, sir. So I really kind of get confused sometimes when the professor articulates his view, and in his view, he wants to admit to one thing and go to another. The light, yes, it is for the benefit of the Liberian people. That's primary. Yeah, we agree. But it is a political campaign. He must recognize that, because he himself alluded to it when he says that those who are invited are selected and a choice. So when it goes to that one, then you are looking in the line of politics. Because politics, you choose your ally, and you bring your ally to you, and you show your ally to the people. So that's what he's saying. Even though you did it for the betterment of the people, but you are doing it because of your political benefit. So you are exploiting the Liberian people with their own wealth, showing them that I did it for you, but you must vote for me, you ain't vote for me, I'll not do many. That's not what we want in our country. The primary thing of Liberia is that unity must be our hallmark. Our politics, you say we must change our politics. The only way we can change our politics is we have to change our attitude. Our attitude is what is creating the problem in our politics. If Aquinas Way and Darius Dillon are seen body, the president will have a reason to ostracize Aquinas Way, because he does not want Darius Dillon to be in the mix. He will see Aquinas Way is selling off his a secret, trade secret. You can't do that. The only way we can preach that thing is to tell it, man, come. We have made a development, come. Your son, this thing, come. Let us all be here and tell people this is the government. The government is the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary. That's the government. But most times when we speak in Liberia about the government, we refer to the executive. And we need to get out of that system and start calling the executive the government. The executive is just one branch of the government. Just the lighting of Monrovia is a government project. Let the president articulate that and call every member of the government to be present, from every branch to be present. Whether they are opposition, imposition, opposition, or whatever position, let all of them come there and sit around so that the people can see that the leaders are united. If our leaders are not united, our people will not be united. And that is the thing that is suffering us to face, because we don't have the leaders that are trying to bring people closer. Everybody pushing for because they want to stay in power. And I think the professor agreed that that is political, even though it's for the benefit of the people, but it is political. And let him just agree that it is political, that's why they didn't bring the other people in.
Okay.
But I agree with him on the fact that it's for the benefit of the Liberian people.
Okay. Wow. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. I'll listen.
It's so good that I have a lot of people supporting aspects of my arguments.
The lighting is good.
Support another part of it.
Some
Take the other part of it and support.
Sort of, I don't know whether it's a legal or illegal extraction. Take the one. Okay, this one is applicable for this other. Yeah,
I know.
Yes, that's so.
For next one, yeah.
The professor mentioned something a few minutes ago about the way our politics, the way we engage each other as Liberian, is not conducive, and I agree with him. However, if we're going to be serious and want to change things around, once again, we're going to have to follow our unwritten culture. And that is, for example, when people die, this is when, at least in my culture, the way I know it from total era, somebody died, that's when all of the issues, the conflict, the confusion among relatives, that's when they think everybody's settled issue. Because when people die, everyone is emotional. And so they're willing to listen and put everything behind them.
Yeah.
This president, let me don't say this president, Dr. Weir, to be specific, has a tendency to say when people die, he knows when they die. And I'm not going to go far. Let's talk about Lawrence. You're saying that Madame Lawrence should have lunch with Sir Joseph. When the woman husband died, Sir Joseph and the president, Dr. Weir, didn't even attend the funeral. You think she's going to forget that? How is it that she's going to say, she can say, okay, let's talk politics. But in politics, we're also human beings. You need one another to be able to move the ball forward. So these things all intertwine. If we're going to engage each other, let's consider our culture. Now, this woman husband died.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Excuse me?
Let me ask this question. Let me put myself on the screen too, so that I can say whether this guy asking the camera is it a fair question to ask whether the president was invited to?
Of course. Was not disinvited.
What?
It's a fair question, but what I know,
because the reason I'm asking that question, because there were a lot of sound bite out there. This is what the government did.
Mr. So,
the
reason why I brought this up.
Okay, there's a reason. Will you give me a chance? Let me ask my question, something.
Go ahead, ask your question.
You are a Liberty Party man. You're based here in the USA. Let me ask this question here again. Perhaps maybe, I don't know if I should throw it in crown so that we can lead the professor and Amos George out of it. I'm wondering whether the president who was invited, based on all what you say, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How can I authenticate that?
Well, Mr. So, you don't need to. But let me just tell you this.
You acting like the professor. I don't need to. So you becoming selected who to go and.
So if you want to authenticate that, you can. No, I'm saying yes, and you say how you're going to authenticate it. Then perhaps you have other means besides me. I can't give you any other information. If you say how you can authenticate that, you find that out. I'm telling you what I know.
Well, I know
now,
that.
Let me go back again. Let me go back to say this. The reason why I'm bringing this up, because Elon Lawrence is like a brother to me. He was like a brother to me. So I know these things. I know when the family went home, the brother lives here in Sacramento with me. And I know that. And if I were to call him right now and talk about it, he will say your brother. That's the first thing he's going to say. So I know this, but I'm not going to go into detail about that. My point that I'm making is when these things happen, Dr. Weir is a young man, but he's the president of the country. He should provide his shoulder for every one of us to cry on. He should be above everyone else. And when you do that, then you become to bring people together. Look at the statement he made in Bond County during the election. If people are not behind us, in a sense, like they will be punished. What kinds of punishment? You, the president of the Republic of Liberia, and saying out of your mouth that people will be punished. What are you saying? What if somebody were to interpret to say the president says the president will be punished? Therefore, I will take the issue on my own and punish that person because the president said. You, as the president, your voice, the way you behave, the way you interact with other people, carry a huge amount of weight on all of us. If this president, and I'm not saying only just this president, but our leaders, if they were to come together and say, let's put Liberia first. Politics, it will not stop us, but let's put Liberia first. Things will be different. Things will be different. So like the professor said, he would like to see these things. It should start with the leadership. The higher person in the land should come and provide his shoulder for people to cry on. But look, I can't go far. What did the professor say earlier? He said people hate Dr. Weir. How does he know that? What are the yardsticks the professor is using that people hate Dr. Weir? Now, with his own mindset, believing that people hate Dr. Weir, he has already, most likely, have already identified those people. Do you see Professor? Hopefully, he will be in leadership very soon. Do you see Professor now trying to engage those people that perhaps he has already identified as being hateful to Dr. Weir?
Mr.
I don't
Tool,
see it. So how do we get this thing out
Mr.
of
Tool,
here?
you know me. Mr. Tool, you know me better than
Mr. Tool, let me
you know
just
me better than
what you
that.
said.
So,
No, let me just add something to what you said.
yeah,
The last time I listened to Bocha,
yeah.
he said when the president was elected, he called the president, I think twice. He texted the president, never responded. When Bocha said he was elected, he was asked whether the president ever called him. He said no. And these people play football together for the same team.
Yeah.
Tell me, if you've seen politicians should sometimes get together,
Yeah.
and you've seen this thing, you've seen this kind of thing, they're talking about the leader of a country, and it's not Julian Simple one. Those many people who are close to President Weir have said this thing, that President Weir keep malice against people. So how can the country or legislature work and make these kind of things happen when the leader is not willing to say, look, let me put this behind me. I'm the guy up here now. Everybody, I don't care you like me or not. At the end of the day, I'll cut the shot in this country. So if even you had a disagreement with you, down the line, I let it go. Let's talk just for the country to move forward. It's not being demonstrated by the president. And Professor Zhao, you come here to make it look roses, to speak about this thing as you happen. But it will not happen. It will not happen because the president is not setting the agenda for that to happen. And let me just conclude on this thing. And you said that there are people out there who hate the president. Well, if you disagree with someone, I don't know. If I disagree with it means that I hate you, I don't think so. For me, the only time I disagree is because of your policy. It doesn't mean I hate you. But the president himself had mentioned this again. He went back now before. And he told us that he called us enemy of the state because we disagree with something that they were doing. So it's not that the president makes this statement out of isolation. No, it is part of him. That's how he look at some of us. And we just put in the forward, we just buttress what he has been seeing, that people don't like him, people hate him. And this is what you're seeing again, you just buttering the statement of the president. Because maybe the people in Bon County, I don't know, whether anything will see the deal of President Weir, because he said already that after the election, they will see what we'll do, they will see how we'll treat them. What is the crime that the people of Bon County have committed? Or what they have done to President Weir personally? That when he go out there, make that kind of statement.
The vice president from Bon County.
Yeah, but if he a vice president has a disagreement, fine. But he generalized it.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying you have a vice president who works for the same very government from Bon County.
Yeah, but because he and the vice president disagree, so it means that the entire county is in disagreement with President Weir, and he don't like the people. That's all. He want to talk those people that he wants something.
Is that how you feel?
That's how I feel. It's not a person first time making that kind of statement. He went there before when he called us an enemy of the state. That was the entire country at that time. Now he went there. He went there to the campaign and said that those who are now with them after the election, they will see what will happen. So what is the people of Bon County? What he see in Bon County, the people of Bon County have done so much to him that he wants to take maybe personal issue that he has with the vice president to generalize it. And this is where I'm coming from. Professor Zhao, you might disagree with me, but that's my feeling. And I tell people the same feeling. And you just buttress the statement that you made yet, that the person out there.
Mind you, the president is targeting Bon County for massive development.
Look, Professor Zhao, he can go there and do anything he wants to do. When the president says he don't like us, he just want to show us.
Is that a thinking to Amos Joy? This seems to go to hit the bone part of you. Is that a thinking of the people of Bon County?
Of course, I speak of
no. Mr. Josh,
look,
what do you expect?
Why you think he told
represent Mr.
Why
George?
He told Henry Yala.
Yeah.
Henry Yala was not popular, and Henry Yala did not even get 5 votes from his hometown.
Okay,
but the president chose to take it to poke eye in the vice president's face.
Okay, let the professor respond. So
let's look. Elections have consequences. The people of Bon County voted. They did not vote for Mr. Yala. We've moved beyond that. But one thing I know for sure, Mr. George does not represent the broader views of the people from Bon County. The president remains very popular. The president remains very popular in Bon County.
He did not win election twice.
Not winning election. let's look at the things. In order to win election, you don't have to win every county. The president will lose almost every county and still, you can lose the senatorial seat in every county and still win the presidency. So let's look at that difference. Let's be fair. All right. So, and then it depends on the numbers you have in county. You can lose in certain counties, but how you lose in the county and how you win in the other counties can put you over. So that's a different thing. But let me say this: I don't think the president. It's unfair to suggest that the president has something personal against the people of Bond County. That's just not going to be right. That's just not right. The president cannot just stereotype a whole group of people, you know. So it's unfortunate. If the president made the statement you've just indicated he made, then I think the statements are unfortunate. I would love to listen to the audio. If I do listen to the audio and I find out the president,
Mr. So can attest to that.
Which one? Yeah. Are you saying the president comments in Bond County? Those who would not be for us?
They will see what happens. Yeah, that's a different statement as compared to saying that you will punish the people of Bond County.
But what's the difference when you say you will punish the people?
Like you said, they will see what happens.
Yeah,
maybe
I
think maybe tomorrow we gotta play that. What do you think is the connotation? You are a professor. Why do you think is the connotation of that when somebody?
Well, I'm saying that's what I'm going to come to. It's open for so many interpretations. It could be that the president is saying, "Look, we got the development agenda for your county. If you don't vote for us, the other people don't have agenda. You're going to see what's going to happen."
So if you don't vote, if you don't vote for me, you won't get that development package. Is that the interpretation?
Because I might have the power to implement the package. The other people have the power to implement the package. That's what he may have been saying. So I don't think it's about, if you don't vote for us, we're going to fire all the Bond County people from in government. No, that just can't happen.
The vice president said it, and she acted upon it.
Okay, let's. We have a few more.
That's the vice president. When I come here, I speak mostly on the thoughts, the actions, and the activity of the president. What the vice president does or not, I don't have that kind of.
But Professor, let me come back to you. When the president called us
information
in Bond County.
Okay, all right.
He did not do so. He did not do so. But let's go back to what are the things we're saying here again. I think Mr. Tu agree with me, and you agree with me, Father. Look,
no.
Mr. Tu, I agree with you to some extent.
You gotta tell me what I agree with you on.
Okay. I'll come to that. But I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah, but he from Nigeria and I'm from Bond County, so we read it.
That's how it should be. That's right. That's how it should be. Oh, Mr. Tu, look, in hindsight, you look at it and say the president should be the one who should reach across the aisles. But I think it's something that anybody can do. You agree with me, Mr. Tu, that George Weah has been a rallying instrument for many, and he has been a polarizing instrument for some. You agree with me? And President Weah has been an unfair target of so many.
By whom?
And some of the reasons that when I say people hate President Weah, look, I hear this, for example. Very educated people call me and tell me, "Why are you supporting President Weah?" I said, "Well, what's the problem?" Well, the thing he good in at football, he should be building football stadium. He shouldn't be running for presidency. There's some people who have that kind of mindset of President Weah. And based on that, there's nothing he does that will please them because he's misplaced, according to them. So those can be things that can make it challenging and difficult, to engage some of those very people.
Let me ask you, you support the ruling establishment. Hearing what I'm hearing from you, does that sound very offensive? And he takes that to heart on a personal note when he hears those sort of comments and people.
Why would he take that to heart? Why would he not take that to heart when people want to make a decision about how he lives his life?
So why would you allow people to define you? You can better define yourself.
They're not defining. What he does is that in that kind of situation is that if the person doesn't have that kind of respect for me, then I draw my lines. It's a normal. You would do that. You would do that. Mr. George would do that. Mr. Tu would do that. Everyone else would do the same thing.
But let's be fair. You're speaking in general.
Yes,
you're speaking in general. I called somebody name on this program.
Who name you called?
I called Ball Child name, the senator of Grand Crew County. And I
Do you know what Borchas has done
now.
and said about President Weah? You know Borchas? Do you know Borchas?
I don't know him.
Do you know him?
I don't know him.
Okay.
Borchas left the Senate hearing. Borchas, you don't have the Borchas. He left the Senate hearing sweating to go and produce his diploma. He never came back. You know what happened to him?
I don't know.
Do you know what that happened to Borchas? Okay. So you don't know the individual called Borchas.
But that's why
this man was on a campaign to denigrate his character, the president's character, not just, that would have caused would have damaged his character internationally. He was on a campaign to do that. So you gotta be very careful. I would love to see the president and Borchas making it up, coming back together to be the same way they were when they played for Invincible 11. I would love to see that. But look, there are blames across both aisles. And let's be fair, let admit to that.
But let me say to you, Professor, you know Borchas. I don't know him. So when he says something, I quote him. And if you people in the CDC can know some of these things, why you people don't come out to tell your side of the story? Instead of the president just stay away. And he's the leader of the country.
Okay, guys, let's leave it there. Let me play this tape here. Is getting some sort of mixed reaction from other folks within the advocacy community, and I hope to have the deputy minister here at some point in time. But this is a video commercial being released by the Ministry of Gender and Social Protection, Republic of Liberia. Let's play this, and then we're going to have a conversation.
Center in Dupo Road, and we have the Stars of the Sea One-Stop Center in West Point. At the One-Stop Center, you will be checked in order to establish whether you were raped or not. After that, you will be referred to the police and then refer you to the psychosocial counselor. You might be referred to the safe home, or you might be allowed to go back in your community. After that, the court proceeding will begin.
Our fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, cousins, friends, join our president and our first lady to fight this scourge of sexual and gender-based violence in our country. The Ministry of Gender asks you that whenever you see something, please say something. Report all issues surrounding sexual and gender-based violence, especially rape, to the relevant authority. Report it to the Ministry of Gender, the Ministry of Justice, and the Bureau of National Police, and ensure that we are saving a life, we are saving a child, a woman, a vulnerable person somewhere, because what is happening in our community is not only to others, but it will also happen within our own homes.
Sex is good for me and you when we agree to do what we would like it. Sex is good for you and me when we agree to do what we would like it.
This here, I have you had a chance to listen to the full text?
This is my first time hearing that video.
No.
Okay, I speak with authority at the Ministry of not Justice, Social and Gender Protection, especially the other lady, not minister. We just exchanged texts, and I talked to Minister Kage, and the understanding hopefully to be appearing here on Tuesday. But if you listen to the message, there are other people in the community now. Well, the message is not. Especially Tavila Code did a tweet. I saw that on our page, calling on the ministry to take down the video by having us comment. Sex should be a consensus based, and the message in which the minister or the Ministry of Gender is preaching is gone or whatever. But since you have not, I think I will have to send that to you guys to have it fairly, and then we can talk about that today. I don't want, since it's a new stuff here. The Liberal, you didn't see this? Okay, so this other same joint here, before we go away here, this has become another sickening thing in the country now. I don't know what is responsible, or what is the bottom line of it. Either somebody go on the car, or they sit down in front of the car. Representative one day, I believe, as a Speaker of the House of Representatives, car there with REP 1. So, how can the government handle this tougher thing yet? This is not the first time, Professor. We've been seeing this thing happening over and over and over. People either going, we saw Archie Pompon setting himself ablaze and all of that. And even though he admitted that the president went there and gave, but we saw the other day people going on the speaker car. I think that's the second time they appear again. What is going on?
I think those are aggrieved employees of the Capitol building, according to what I know. Right? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
For the benefits. You see, this issue about salaries and benefits has to be addressed by our government. It's an issue of serious concern. When people work, they must be compensated, and they must be compensated on time. I wouldn't mince my words, on that. I think it's unfortunate that employees will have to take such drastic action, to get the attention of those who are responsible to pay them. It's unfortunate. And I think the Speaker and the House of Representatives should act speedily to do it. Right now, I'm involved with a discussion concerning Margibi County. Players who play for the county in the Just End the County meet took to the streets to block traffic on the Kakata-Monrovia Highway. And we in the back, we're behind the scene, encouraging them to get, to move, to stop impeding the free movement of people. Because some of the people who were in the traffic, they didn't have any connection to Margibi. It's a national highway. But at the end of the day, I re-stress to the authorities of Margibi that situation like this should not happen. If you tell people you're going to pay them a certain amount of money, you must have that money waiting so that when the job is done, you pay them. It's unfair. It's unfortunate that we have to reach this stage. And I think we should address it. There's no sugarcoating of it. I don't think those guys who lay under the car take pleasure in doing it. They are pushed to the extreme. Having said that, I would want to encourage young people or everybody in Liberia to find alternative means of channeling the grievances rather than taking such drastic actions, which has a potential to have some severe consequences that we don't want to see. But it's extremely unfortunate that people have to do such a thing to get their pay. It's just unfair to the people who work.
All right, I guess there might be some sort of alignment with the professor in this one here, Pa Josh.
Let me say this. This is the outcome of a responsible people in position of trust. People who don't consider the fellow man. People who don't respect people's value. These are native people abusing native people. When the Congo people did it, we frown on the Congo people. Today, native people are in power and they are enslaving their own native brothers and sisters. They get all the benefits as certain representative, as speaker. They get all the benefits. The Ryan card are costing $35,000. These for $200-$300. It is what they cannot pay these people. The people sitting there in the Capitol building to tell you how irresponsible. Look at the trash in the yard. The building leaking. What kind of people are these people? These people are all belly driven. I always say this. We the native people are the most wicked people you can find in Liberia today. How can someone wait? They don't get paid on time. How can someone work for you? They do all your letters. They move here and there. They cannot get a benefit, but you, speaker, deputy speaker, representative, all get the benefit. But leave the staff undone. What does speak about these people's character? What I tell you about these people's character? But you're going to go in the street and say, oh, I'm representing the people. Oh, the people they treated her before. But look what you're doing to their own brothers and sisters. Where's the justification for that? Where is the justification for that? All these people in the prison, most of them are not supposed to be there. But I always say this is the responsibility of these people. Election have consequences. Because when the very people who sit on our ground, they were there acting for these people. That they're going to represent or they will do this. Now there's been seen how these people are treating them. Mr. Speaker, how do you feel? You run, you got a driver, you got a security that drive you into the office. They take you back home. So many people, they have to walk miles. They leave their home no food. The children home. You make these people to be irresponsible. You make these people that their children cannot respect their homes. Because every day you go home, there's no plastic bag for you to put down in the evening. Your children cannot even run to greet you again. But yeah, but these people say they are leaders in Liberia. They are representatives of the people. This is very irresponsible, and it just irritates me when I see people behaving like this. Sometimes you wonder what part of Liberia these people are coming from, what planet they're living on. They wear all the flashes suit. These people pour water, Mr. So, to carry up in the capital building in the toilets. So many people pour water to carry upstairs in that building for them to use. And if very people cannot get that benefit, what do you explain to this people? The finance minister? If it is the finance, call the finance minister, say, if we don't have that today, you cannot leave this building. You have the power. This guy has said, Mr. To, that so many people, they're relative outside the country, they still got a name on payroll. The family members, they got a name on payroll while they are out of the country. These are rumors, the guy has said it. And what the speaker is doing, every day giving these people run around. Is that how a responsible person should behave as a speaker or deputy speaker? What do you want these people to do? These people, they are running out of patience. And so many people sometimes do things out of the way. Not that they're willing to do it, but the conditions have pushed them to the point that they got no other way to turn around.
When it gets to the boiling point, now
Yes.
then you have nothing else to do.
Nothing. And so many people, they got nobody to talk to.
Okay.
Say, look, go to the person they will talk to you to calm you down. No, some of them don't have any means. They get home, the women are fussing with them. You work, you can't bring pay. The children come, Papa, I'm hungry. What happened when you walk 45 minutes from Capitol Building or 1 hour, tell them to go to Douala? By the time you get it, the child said they're hungry, the man push the baby to you, say, go to your part. He say, coming from work. See the kind of stress these people are going on. But the speaker and the rest of other people are enjoying. But you are telling us that you are serving, you are representing these people. I just say, to conclude, Mr. To, these people are wicked. No other word. I will not go further to describe it. No, they are just plain wicked people. They don't care for the people. They are all belly-driven, self-centered. That is why you see them over there. Let me just leave it on that note, because I don't want to go further than that if I say something that not to be say on the air, because it boiled my blood. Because I'm not thinking it was me. Mr. So, I tell you, I can be good, but sometimes I can be terrible. One time at the foreign ministry, maybe some people know the story. I went with my pastor, people pushed me around for almost 2 months. One day I went to that building. I carried gas. I said, anybody put my open the building down. I turned that foreign minister upside down on the back of Matthew.
You carry gas?
I was ready that day. I said, that foreign minister, it was Mama Point.
Yeah.
That time.
Yeah, Mama Point down the slope.
Down the whole day.
They used to get a little car white area there.
The people drove me. One morning I went there.
How many gallons were you?
I had my money, but the trouble I caused them so. That morning I went there. I still remember one morning they called Miss Carey. I don't know where she's living now. Miss Carey. I went to ask that woman. You know what the woman told me? Is that how you talk to your mom, Mr. So? Maybe that's right. Some people know it. I took the chair, the iron chair. Foreign minister was packed that day. People crying for the passport. I swung that chair across the hall. Everybody jump up. I said, if I don't get the passport here today, they building no point. Last time I said, my Western fireplace. Martin Capper was acting minister. Carla Capper's son. They went to call the minister to come. They said, one man causing trouble here, one ball. When the minister came down, he saw me. He called me, but he called me. He said, "Come." He said, hold on. He came. I explained the story. And I showed him all the receipt. He said, go home. I will bring the passport. Please go home. And everybody looking at me. This is the same thing those people doing at the Capitol building. People working for you 3 months. They can't 4 months. They can't get a benefit. Who you think you are? Who you think you are? That people work for you, they cannot get paid. And you put in the blame on the Minister of Finance, and you cannot call the Minister of Finance to instruct him to say, pay these people the money. You can't do it.
That's just baloney. I don't even believe that.
I mean, what can we say to these people? You getting your benefits. You are in car that costing $35,000, $40,000. This man got to walk every day to show how dedicated these people are.
See, before I bring in a liberal here, that's what I always, we don't have we don't have an organized civil society. And that's part of it. If you don't have an organized group, when everybody there just fighting for themselves, two of us here, we're in a struggle here. When we're in a struggle, we must bound together.
Yes.
But when they settle you, the other people, even talking about the 3 boys, do you hear anything about that again?
That one going to bridge.
Than people, you have people who say they are advocates, but I don't understand their advocacy. The only advocate when a person from the county. So when other person say, oh yeah, let a bon county put the way. Oh, let a grand leader put the way. They don't. And part of that is because they are all fake people. It's just they want to gain public attention, so tomorrow they can be accommodated some way, somehow. I'm not saying they should call violent, but there is, like what a professor said, there is a channel, there's a process. Yeah. You must stick together and say this is it. But even when they go down there, the very group that's out there, you got a lot of people call them aside and they go away. So I don't think that our people, they just act on instant. When it happens here, you see everybody will be like a wild geese. Facebook will be crying all over the place like a little chihuahua. After 1 day, 2 days, everybody.
Let me just tell you something.
They're not even willing to go sector.
2017. When that land issue started in Sandra and Grand Judea, 2017, that time I was not even on, I didn't even know about Liberian Public Radio. I was doing a program in London. 2017, when that land issue started in Grand Judea, but Burkina Faso invading Sano and thing, and took that issue on. I was talking about it. Because I do not believe that you must speak when it's in your geographic location, that is your county or your people. No. Once it's wrong, it's Maryland, it's wrong, it should be wrong, and we should call it. But as you see there, some people, many people, they are very selective in picking on issues to talk about it, and which is wrong.
So it's okay, the liberal, the man from Totan.
Yeah, thank you.
What's the language we need to speak to that what that Capitol building, those 103, all of them. Everybody there, they are corrupt, they are dishonest. They don't move in a core. I don't see people who really can stand up for their people. It's all about themselves. And that's a separate branch of government. That's a separate branch of government. On our Lord, they are the one. In fact, they are our direct representative. They are the one that represents our interests, and they are the one that recognizing the very people that they represent. So what else can we do? Who else can we turn to?
Well, Mr. So that's the beauty of democracy. These people were elected. They didn't come to the little building through the back door. They were elected. People voted for them. But anyhow, that's besides the point. I'm not going to describe them as you and Mr. Joyce have done here this evening. These are our own brothers and sisters as well. I don't like their behavior. I am not comfortable with the kinds of situation that is facing the other brothers and sisters. They have the right to sit in front of the car. My only thing is, if you have a situation like what is happening in Liberia, it's difficult to deal with. Let's just look at the example. People like Sekou, what's his name, Kalasco. People like the mayor, Kochi. Few years back, we all used to be in the street of Monrovia, and I'm just putting myself back in Monrovia. We all used to be in the street of Monrovia hustling. All of us struggling out of a certain, because of your closeness to a particular political guru or political chief. Now look at your situation. You're not bringing to the table any other thing or better than any one of us. But because of your closeness to a specific person, your condition changed drastically. I am still the way I am because I'm not close to that political person. You're not bringing anything on the table that will change the dynamic. It's just because you're close or you're friend to a particular person. Number one. Second, Burma Chiefman, the speaker, is quite aware of these things. Why is it? And he's an educated person. These are people that watched Ellen in 12 years. And they used to go to the police station. They used to be in the street to demonstrate. In fact, there's a video where Burma Chiefman is telling the police officer, don't disturb me. I'm trying to speak for the people of the Republic of Liberia. What happened now when these children, make grown men sitting in front of your car? But Pa George has stated it well, and of course, I'm not going to characterize as he has done, but the sentiment is there. The sentiment is there, and the emotions are raw. All we need to do is to continue to pray for one another and pray for our leaders.
That's the liberal way, because they have some of their people. You don't want to call their name.
The liberal is leaving his liberal club. He's talking about pray. It's not a prayer issue.
No, you pray. I don't know. I should go put my knee. If I right now, my knee said right now, I think I need to remove the cap. I can't go sit and pray for what? To say what?
I'm hungry. I should go and pray.
So fall down, then you die. Then oh hey, then you say, oh that man, I can't.
No, it's not a prayer issue. It's an issue where people the thing about it is that, and in as much as I support this government, you see, when you have unrealistic expectations and the people in charge of certain things set unrealistic expectations, it leads to these kind of things. Like I said, I always like to be practical with my things. Today, I asked for a copy of the contract that the McGivy County team entered in with the players.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, the secret about it that got was that the contract was written but was never signed. but
that's a gentleman arrangement right there. That's a gentleman. That's not a contract.
No.
Yeah, the promise the kids $55 each, and they had like $69,000 budget. Last year, you got $13,000 for the whole meet. So what were you thinking about that you get 69? What will you get? How will you get the extra money to complete the 69? So put everything short. I think what the people at the Capitol building should be doing is to see how they can right size the employment at the Capitol building. And we've all.
But Professor, I don't mean to interrupt your sedition. So let me wrap this around your neck a little bit. What happened to the wage bills? What happened to the harmonization process? What happened?
Be minute on you yet to know.
That's what I'm saying to you. That's one of the things that people don't take into consideration. Look, the executive, when it comes to the human resources, the salaries and benefits of the legislature, the executive doesn't control that. The legislature has the power to say this is what we need, and the legislature has to give it. The executive has to give it to them or negotiate. In some and Minister Tua, to his credit, he negotiated and he was able to get them to cut down some of the benefits. And I think Minister Tua needs to go back there and see how you can right size the workforce at the legislature. You got to right size it and then be able to pay people on time. It's something you got to do. You don't want this to be happening. So
when you see, okay, now then let's come back to the point here before we wrap up here. And yeah, we're talking here on the official website, cabinet meeting ends successfully. How can things be successful when people who are in charge, things not going here? But let's leave it here. Who knows, we're gonna add up to what going to be the talking point here tomorrow. The liberal progressive Samson Branto, Mr. Amos George, and Professor Asese Labot Zawlot. Gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for us and of course our follower. Conversation is always conducted with civility. We did not open the lines, but hopefully tomorrow we will try to do that. We got carried away. The return of Samson to just being explosive. Mikey was telling me missing him and all of those kind of stuff. I meant Bill Cousins. I don't know. Bill, he's not a friend of you. You're a liberal guy. You always try to kind of remake, to reconstruct and stuff like that. So it's not okay. Okay, but guys, before we go, Pa George, what would be a final message?
Let me say this. I will close on a note about this guy at the Capitol building. The treatment of those people is inhumane, because if someone where you cannot pay them, that's a fundamental violation of human rights. These people have been denigrated. You make the children cannot respect them, because your child will respect you, or your children will respect you, provided what you provide in your home. And I said I want that on another program. Some of these things lead to children controlling their parents. These are some of the things that causes little girls in the street walking out of their homes, because father cannot provide adequate support for them. He's working, but he cannot provide a daily bread. And some of the children go out to do things. When they come back in the park, and I ask them, Mark, and I ask them, what you ask me for? You know how I'm eating? These are some of the factors. People working, they mean, but they're not being paid. So it's not just that person that you're affecting. There's a whole host of families that are being affected down the chain. And I just want to tell Speaker Buffer Chimba, for me, the way you're behaving, sir, I got no respect for you now. I can say free. No respect for you, Buffer Chimba. Because I see the ground of the Capitol building, the building, no water in that building. What kind of person are you people to go sit down out there and talk to someone that you're wearing $500 coat suit? Come on, man. They should do better. Me, for this one, I tell people, it's just me. And I just want to leave on that note. They should do better. Those people deserve what they have worked for.
Okay. Professor?
Yeah. You know, I want to go beyond talking about the situation at the Capitol building, because I don't think that's an argument that we should engage in. It's simple. You got to pay the people what they earn. But I want to look at it. I want to go back to what we started with. I want to talk about how we have to tone down the rhetorics in our country and build consensus. And it's only when we can build consensus that we can move our country forward. And, you know, I know there are people out there who did not understand the crux of my arguments. The crux of my argument tonight here was that it's the prerogative of those who are hosting the program to decide who to invite and who they should not invite. That doesn't in any way undermine the ability to build consensus.
I see. It's a national. I have also to eradicate this to start this thing. Even on a national function.
Yeah, the protocol people will decide who should attend the program. That's their prerogative. They know who's very vital to the program, and they will decide. But that should not inhibit us from building. So I want to encourage our legislature. I want to encourage the political parties in Liberia to engage one another more frequently. Look, some of my best friends are from the ANC and Unity Party. I talk to them on a frequent basis. We joke, we exchange ideas, we exchange views, we criticize, we support. And I think that should be extended to people in government. They should be able to reach across the aisles and to have more frank and open discussions. You know, and that's what I want to encourage. I don't think we should see what happened at the opening ceremony as any attempt to sideline people. I think we should just embrace the bigger picture, support it, and then we go back and see how we can build bridges so that we can come together, tone down the vitriolic rhetorics, and engage in a more nation-building-like discussion. So I thank you very much for having me. I thank you, Mr. Toole, Mr. George, for all the support you provided to my many arguments I made tonight.
No.
Look forward to discussing with you in the future.
So, the liberal.
Yes.
Oh, my
Well,
God.
for me, I'll take a different trend. I want to thank you, Mr. So, Mr. George, Professor. Thank you guys. It's a very spirited engagement. I truly enjoy. But this is what I want to say. One thing, it's an observation. A few weeks ago, the American ambassador in Liberia came on and started praising Dr. Weah and CDC-led government for their performance in terms of the program they established, and according to the ambassador, started pro-poor agenda. Before that, pro-poor agenda was never part of Dr. Weah and his people English language. They only did it at one time. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is that they're being forced now to recognize their own agenda and implement that agenda. That was just a very intellectual pushing from the ambassador, saying, you guys told us this, and you're not even implementing this. Don't forget, we have copy of your pro-poor agenda. Well, that was a very diplomatic way of saying, did you forget you have pro-poor agenda? What was your process of what was the reason of bringing this agenda? And now, pretty much forcing the Weah-led government back into the pro-poor agenda. And I hope that they will take that and take it seriously and go on with the pro-poor agenda, because it's a blueprint, which is a very beautiful, beautiful written document, and that if they follow, they will do well. Other than that, Mr. So, I think we had a wonderful show. And the video that you share here, please send it to all of us so that at least we will have an insight of what is happening, so that when we come on tomorrow, we'll be able to assist you in your conservative view in order for us to carry out whatever it is that we think. But don't forget, I'm not coming to all three of you in this position and thinking that I'm going to, because if you send us this video and we listen to it, therefore we might take your view. No, it ain't happening. This is a liberal, and my liberal view would not change.
But you changed today. You decided to pray.
Yeah, we liberal, we pray too. You know, we're not just there.
Oh, yeah.
Professor, everything that man do that, but pray, but my liberal will pray. That's why he
Oh, apparently now in the end of the program, the ceasefire is already being violated.
Professor, what happened to your man, Mani Shema?
What? I thought of your man.
Anyway, thank you guys, and I'll say good night to all of you.
Okay, the last nickel coming in, Kwame Opa Weeks, as the Director General of the Liberia New Agency. Mr. Weeks, good morning. He's one of the guys that are doing the extraordinary job, really getting the news outside there uncensored, fair balance. I don't know his boss, but I can't say anything now to get him in trouble with his boss. But
we'll reply to our man Kwame Weeks tomorrow. We don't have the time now to do that.
Kwame Opa Weeks. I know I'll send you a message. I'm still looking up to that. All right, gentlemen. Until then, we got to call it for the night. I want to thank you so much as usual. We're going to be back here tomorrow, and we're going to have a conversation again. For us here at LPR, this is not an entertainment business. It's strictly informative, having a real-time conversations, a dialogue on critical issues, critical observations, and people speak their minds. So we don't come to entertain with the hope of what you intend or what you want to hear. That's what we want to tell you. We don't necessarily do that. We speak strictly to the issues and some of the things based on facts, and we open it up for us to have a conversation. Well, gentlemen, have a pleasant. Samson, are you going to church tomorrow?
Excuse me?
You heard the question.
There's a rule in this country that say there's a separation, church and state.
So what happened?
Media and church. You don't bring people personal relation believe into
It's
this
simple.
kind of
Oh, man, we're not going.
You are just telling people to pray. You are just telling the people
I know how you don't do it. The men are going to church. So all you see, all day long round, he taking a me. He got no church. I'll go to church tomorrow. Pray for you.
I will try and go to church, but even if I don't go to
Yeah,
church, my God,
which church you don't go?
I'm a Catholic, by the way.
Yeah, what?
He said, by the way.
By the way, you are Catholic?
Yeah, he's not too sure.
Okay, married?
Man, a smart man. He wants to stay long in church.
Jesus.
He doesn't want to stay long.
Church. I do go to church.
He doesn't want to stay long. He's a Catholic.
Yeah, I do go to church.
Gentlemen, yeah, thank you so much. Have a pleasant.
I'm looking for Monadugle Church here in the Sacramento area, but I haven't found it yet.
You gotta eat. You gotta eat for the whole day to go to Monadugle Church.
I know.
All right, thank you. Good night, folks.
All right. Yeah, thank you so much. Okay.
And if you look along this stretch of land, you will see the roads that he has conditioned. And so we're here in continuation, and this time around, you will see the lighting of the city for the first time since the war.
Since the war.
Since the war.
After how many years?
You can put it up to whatever many years you want to, but you have to go back to 1980, all right, when the coup took place. The infrastructure was down, but 1990, when we saw the height of our saber crisis, then clearly you and I
taking you to Maryland County this hour here from the East Coast. Folks, that's how we're going to conclude the night. We want to thank you for those of you taking time off to chill with us here this evening. I am Afonso Ziensot of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV. We want to thank you so much for being there. We sincerely and honestly apologize. We did not open the phone lines as usual for your participation. So it was not on purpose. But we just got driven away a little bit yet, and we owe you an apology. Thank you so much for sharing your evening, your tweets, your comment. And we believe all that has been expressed is because people are eager. They want to see how their country works. They want to hold their national leaders accountable. But what we emphasize on this network here, it must be done with civility and respect. That is important, because if I'm a leader, if you can respect me and you can create a conversation, it makes it difficult for us to work out our differences. And so it is important. That's what people, that's what happens in the civilized world. You see here, man calling the Republicans and other leaders, and they are talking. That's what they're supposed to do. There must be an engagement, and so that there was put all out on the table and sort what is sorted out, whatever that is applicable at this point in time for the good of the country, and that can be put forward for them to discuss. So that's what we want to do. We are happy that the city is out, because where there's darkness, it have criminals. That's how they see the bad guys always around. But when there's light, they will be very careful, because they will be exposed and people want to see them. So they always don't, criminals always act like a Nicodemus. They always want to move in darkness. So we are happy that the city is light up, and we expect government to do more. That's the responsibility of the government. So we ask government officials or people in the government to learn how to enhance government message. And that's the job of the government. So when the government do it, you just tell the citizen that's part of the fulfillment of the government. You don't have to go back and throw jobs at the people. But of course, I mean, opposition, they will have to say it, but that's where political tolerance kicks in and factor in. That's what we want our national leaders to do. Until then, that's how we're going to draw the curtain down here this evening. I want to thank you so much. If that's your first time, just try to follow us. It's Liberia Public Radio, LIB Messenger page, and the official website is www.liberiapublicradio.com, the YouTube channel as well. But again, this is a serious business. We are not here. We are now entertainer. We are not even the commentators. This is a renowned news outlet. And so we keep the information proportionate. We discuss some hardcore painful issues. We have differences, but we'll make sure we conduct ourselves with civility. And that's what we do. So that's set up a little bit apart from any other network, and we can speak for those network. I want to thank you so much for being part of it. We hope to bring in the Deputy Minister, the Minister of Social and Children Protection, the Minister of Gender to Republic of Liberia, Tuesday here, but we're going to be back here tomorrow evening with your informative news magazine, Freedom Watch, right here on the Liberia Public Radio. Until then, have a pleasant evening.
It's the time to come together. Keep Liberia safe forever. So open up your heart and let the unity begin. Love is all we need to make it stand. Let's cultivate one another. Learn to live together as brothers and sisters. Without togetherness, we won't have no peace of mind. Unify and have a peaceful